Well, back to real estate. Welcome home. Here we are, episode 3 or 4 or 5. But we have a lot of fun hanging out, talking what we're learning through real estate and what we're working on to try and develop creative marketing content that creates profitability for our team. And this is a place where we brainstorm that. We talk through, what are some video ideas that we could do that would make our agents, our realtors, our brokers make better connection with their people. How can I make sure that my content that I'm sharing on social media is entertaining, it's educational, it's engaging? I want to show up on their feed and give them something that makes them smile and makes them more comfortable and confident about reaching out with a text, phone call, or a message to say, hey, I'm ready to buy a home, or I'm ready to sell a home, or hey, I'm thinking about divorce and I need to know what I'm going to walk away with if we have to sell this house. That seems to be an often call that we get. So those are the things that we're going for, not the divorce. Week finish.
When do you see the most advice? Could y'all put a number on it? As far as everybody's
most divorces?
No, I mean, I got a guy. No, there's
like what time of the year?
What time of the year is the most common to get the call of, hey, we're getting divorced?
Oh, seasonally, yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I think Q1, Q2.
I was about to say it's usually after Christmas.
Q1, yeah, after the holidays are up, because no one wants to do the divorce
before
the holidays.
Yeah. Man, I hate getting those phone calls. Usually, if I get a phone call from a wife, I'm always a little like, oh no. It's even though the majority of the phone calls from a wife that I get are not anything divorce related. But when it's happened just as many times as it has, I have a gut feeling now when I get the caller ID and it's a wife of a client that bought a house, within the past 5 years, and I'm like, oh, I hope this is a good one,
I hope it's not bad news.
Absolutely, right. Hope this is not bad news. In fact, we had a sweet lady that I hope is going to get to be watching this podcast as it airs because she's a friend of ours and been a recent client as well, but. She called recently and was like, I'm thinking about divorce and trying to figure out if we were to sell, like what would we walk away with? Is there, what are my options? I'm like, well, you can actually just refinance it and keep it in your name. You can stay in the house if you'd like, unless he, cheated on you there or something and you want to go somewhere else, then he could do that, or we can sell it and liquidate. So kind of talking through all that, but she was just, telling me, and I said, but the first things first, if you have a child under 3 years old, I just would ask, unless there's some abuse or, violence or some, adultery or something that's like really like, I have to get out of this right now. If like, before we make a major life decision, let's maybe try our best to get outside of having an under 3-year-old in the home, because that is a lot of work. It is like so hard on a marriage to have just recently made a move with your home and brought a baby into the world. That's just a hard season. So like my first response when I get those, I'm going through a divorce, it's kind of like, how can I make sure and encourage you through this time? Like it's not how quickly can we get the house on the market? Like if that's what they want, then that's the route I go. And that's
what's your therapist say?
Yeah. Like, yeah. What are we learning here? Like, part of that honestly comes from having had gone through twice a time where I did expedite the process, went right through it. And then as we were like going live after photos got done, they were like, hey, I think we're actually going to make it work. Let's wait. No. I've never been more disappointed in my life at something that was so good. But it was like, oh, dang. Like we put some time, we put some money, we put some talent into the creative, material for this. And now we have to like, no one will ever see it. Like, it's when we put a house on the market, there's a lot of joy and energy that if you can get excited about selling this place, like you can really highlight those favorable features with a creativity or a passion. And so it just kind of sucks if you got that and you didn't get to ever share it. But it's
maybe still share it. Be like, hey, they were thinking about getting a divorce. Here's this cool video. We already paid for it. Right. It's already done.
We have it out of the vault.
I usually just think, well, maybe when we might list it in a couple of years, we need a bigger house. And
I've got one of those, man. So I had a client. It wasn't a divorce. It was a cancer deal where it's like, we're going to sell the house. Everything's going great. And then They find out that he's got cancer. Well, now we're shopping for homes again. We're saving money on the photos because we took photos 2.5 years ago. Brother is cancer free.
Praise God.
Amen. And we still have the photos.
Let's go.
Double amen.
That is double amen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good, man.
Great people. Great people.
Wow. Yeah.
But there's
Ramsey, you've had a client. You've had a couple of clients die.
Yeah. Clients die or all kinds of things. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm going to such dark places.
I was actually
Googling
a client yesterday.
This is what they want.
Oh, this is what we need.
Yeah.
This is what I need.
It's like the life component of the job.
Oh,
I was actually Googling a client yesterday to see if she'd passed away yet because I hadn't heard from her in a while. And it's probably been maybe a couple years. And she's I think still alive. I couldn't find her obituary.
Hey.
So because I was like, let me see if she's alive first before I try to reach
You
back
know
out
you've had
and
some
check
trauma if the first thing you think of when checking in on someone is, let me check if they're alive
in.
first.
Yeah. It's just kind of like the nature of working with really old clients. Death is
Man, it
right
sucks.
around the corner for
Totally.
for a lot of
It's a tough
people,
one.
and sometimes any of us.
You helped me navigate my first one.
Yeah.
It's like she was awesome.
R.I.P. Barbara.
R.I.P.
Barbara.
Barbara's honestly like a legend. I mean, she was like built her real estate portfolio and career through the 80s, 90s as a single woman, as a single mom. Like, what a dog!
What a dog!
What a lady!
Incredible.
What she did on the business side of things, and she taught me a lot of stuff too, man. She gave me a shot. I brought Ramsey to the appointment with me. She gave me a shot to work with her, and I mean, we had a great, client realtor relationship, and learned a lot from her. Enjoyed the time I got with her. Barbara's great.
Yeah, she is great. Yeah.
Yeah. What's another thing in real estate that you guys get into where it's just like a unique situation that we don't see, the consumer doesn't see, doesn't realize we're in? I mean, diapers, for sure.
Yeah.
People having babies. That's
I love getting the first call, like knowing before all my other friends that a friend is pregnant. It's a lot more exciting when it's about the pregnancy than a divorce.
Have you ever had one where you sell a house to someone and it fits their needs, and then they have like twins or triplets, and immediately
It's the best thing for all of us. That is a win-win-win.
Yeah. Is that happen?
Absolutely. I don't know if it's happened to me that they got triplets, but it did happen with our teammate Blake. Blake Wiggins had bought a house, and then they had twins, and they made a move pretty soon after.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon to get a call that we had a baby, and now all of a sudden we're realizing like this isn't necessarily where we're going to want to be in 5 years. The rates are really good right now. Should we go ahead and move up to something bigger so we don't have to worry about it then?
But outside of that, is there anything where it's like this guy's got to go quick? Just like a really quick, got to make a move now, got to sell it within like 2 weeks to some crazy situation.
Yeah, I think we've probably had a couple of those where they just had an opportunity that they couldn't miss or couldn't turn down.
Yeah.
And had to make the sale happen as quickly as possible so that they could be able to move the equity into the new purchase.
Yeah. A story that comes to my mind about that is what's exciting about an urgent purchase, not just an urgent sale, is like when someone calls you and says, I've got some 1031 exchange money, I got to get rid of it. My time's coming up. I got to find the spot. And it's so beautiful because inventory that was so, just barely priced out of the market becomes all of a sudden so attractive because their financial loss from not putting it into the vehicle that they're wanting, which is real estate. If they're not putting it into something that they want, that they know they want, then it's a significant loss. And so the percentage of return for that investor doesn't have to be as significant. They can be able to make a lot less on a deal and still be satisfied because they've simply parked their money with a tax benefit. And so that urgency is exciting. And there's also some excitement, if we're being honest, about the urgency that comes from, other hard seasons of either death or divorce that, we don't want this to go into probate. We don't want to have to, manage like potentially having to rent this to be able to afford to even hold it at all. Like we got to have this gone. There's excitement to that because then your value to the client becomes all the more clear of how you can really take that process from start to finish in a smooth and sexy way that gets the job done, that the buyers have no idea about the dark and the hurt that client's feeling and going through. They only feel the bright, beautiful presentation of the property, and we focus on the property. Hey, why is this seller selling? Actually, the reason they're selling is personal. It has nothing to do with the property. And in fact, when we get your inspection report, we'll verify that everything's in great condition. We had the property pre-inspected. You're gonna find that this is the right one for you. There's a presentation that we're able to give that they couldn't give if they were in that dark spot.
Because you don't want somebody to. I mean, some people are really superstitious, you know.
Yeah, she died right there.
Well, even there's a spirit of a dead marriage in here.
Ooh,
I think
so much more real.
If you had someone walk up, say they were doing a FSBO and they're doing their own open house, and someone walks up and says, "Hey, why are you guys selling?" And the wife just like bursts into tears. Like, we're out.
Speaking of the seller getting in their own way, this is not my client. I would never advise for this to happen. I go to show a house this morning. And last night they texted me and they're like, "Yeah, the seller will let you in." And I'm like, "Oh." So the seller lets me in and proceeds to follow us. And
it happens every
us a life
time.
story. I know more
That's
about
how
this
it goes.
woman. I've talked more to this woman in the past week than I have to my grandma. And I love my grandma so much more. And the oversharing.
Yes.
Oversharing was crazy.
Yeah. I want to hear you tell me, have you had a seller that's like been present for showings and overshared? Is that something y'all have had to deal with at all?
I've never had where I was representing the seller. Most of the time, I think they've actually been out, but there are times
he's like, I teach my sellers better than that.
I've been with a seller or with a tenant.
Yeah, as the buyer's rep or the tenant's rep.
That is
these same people were the people where, like, my same buyers. I love these buyers, and I told them today, I was like, "There's a lot of firsts with you guys," because like that was a first for me. But then we had one. Y'all have seen Step Brothers, where they're trying to actively make sure the house doesn't sell.
Yes.
It was that.
Oh no!
Sometimes that can happen with tenants. They don't want to move out.
No, they don't want to move out.
Oh,
these guys
they sabotage as best they can.
These guys didn't even want to move, period. Like, they were camped on the couch. Lights are out throughout the house. They got a dog running around. Smells like bad. I mean, it smelled.
Dude.
Outside smelled better than inside, I mean, it was one of those.
I've been there. That's a thing that it happens.
And I'm calling before I go out there for sure. We thought this was an investment deal, and it looked good. It's like, oh, she's verbally committed on the phone to a pretty low number. And she says the house needs serious work. Sounds like one we could get in there, flip it, help the neighborhood, make money ourselves. This is awesome. We get over there, and I shouldn't have gone. Like, the area that it was in, there's nothing wrong with this area. It's just, when we're looking for a flip house, we're looking at what are the comps? What can we know we're going to make on this property because the properties around it that have sold, we couldn't find. I was pretty new. Should have been there. It was like in an industrial part of town. It was like,
I love hearing you tell this story.
Oh,
this is great.
It was just industry plants, like power plants, not cool plants. And then the house is right there. And this lady, it was, you can be, I've seen people, not super close to me, but I've seen people get consumed by all these different things. Some people get consumed by working, which is kind of a positive thing. Some
totally.
Get consumed by alcohol or drugs, or people get consumed by a person. This lady was consumed by laziness.
100%.
And it was radiating off of her. So we looked through the house, and the house is like, okay, if we could pick this house up and put it somewhere else, this would be a good appointment. I'm glad we're here, but that was not the case. So we finally sit down, and it's like she can't even, she set up the appointment. She can't even give us a time of day. We're sitting here, and she's watching her TV.
Watching TV as we're sitting there.
Just trying to, and it was garbage TV.
It was so
it was
sad.
It wasn't like she was enthralled in a documentary.
Like, yeah, it was a commercial. Like, she was watching the commercials intently.
And we ended up just realizing, Chase and I, like, okay, we have nothing here. Let's just see let's just see what she would agree to.
Let's make a friend.
Let's make a
and
friend
potentially make a deal.
Because I could have put that house on the market, and we could have given her a path to get out of the situation that she had put herself in, for sure. And that was kind of the route that we were
A very
now
clear
exploring.
path that was going to be profitable for her had she been able to put her attention to and commitment towards it.
There was empty cardboard boxes everywhere, empty beer bottles everywhere.
It wasn't like, I feel like when you see that, you normally have a certain feeling, but with her, it felt different. It was like, I almost feel more frustrated for you.
Yeah, because
Like-
she was just so like digging herself deeper
Yeah.
into a pile of garbage.
Like, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And we tried. We tried.
So
to talk
we
about it.
did.
We were like, okay, well, what is the number that you would sell the house for that you feel comfortable and happy with? She was like, she gave us a number. I think she said 50,000 or whatever, which was still too high for this house.
Yeah.
And Chase was like, okay, well, I think I could get somebody, and I think we could too. She's like, I think I could get somebody. Let's do it. And she's, well, then I'd have to move. And we're like, okay, well, we could help you move. She's like, I've actually got another house down the road that's mine, and it would fit me way better.
She had 2 houses.
Yeah. And we're like, well, let's do it. What's holding you back? And she's like, well, I think about packing up and doing everything. And well, then I crack open a beer and sit down on the couch. And I guarantee you, she's sitting on that couch right
She's sitting on that couch right now watching this podcast saying, I should have let him help me,
now. And
because she still has 2 houses.
I left that appointment just the first call was me to Chase, like, hey man, sorry I brought you out here. My bad.
Yeah.
But then we kind of just talked about it, and
Mhm.
it's like, if you've ever been around somebody that's deep into in drugs or something,
Yeah.
You walk
what it
out of
was
it
like.
thinking like, okay, well, I got a feeling I need to do better.
Yeah.
It's like
It's oddly inspiring.
oddly inspiring. This lady, I mean,
There was a switch that happened to you. Like Marshall had like that next day, he was working out in the morning.
Yep.
He was eating healthy. I mean, he was already committed to a lot of that, but it felt like there was I at least heard you verbalize it a little more. You were kind of like saying it out loud, almost for accountability for the first time,
The conviction.
of like, I just never want to be stuck or addicted to laziness like I experienced with you
it was
with
such
that
a-
lady.
It was such a sickness, and there's no rehab for that. It's like if that happens, you got to hope that somebody loves you enough to pull you out of it.
100%.
Or, I don't know, maybe watch some David Goggins videos and
she
pull
needs
yourself.
some therapist or someone to help motivate
It
her.
was so rough. But the craziest part about it, she had the house was $50,000. She had $180,000 car in the garage. You remember that?
Mhm.
Because I was like,
She had some money.
I mean, I don't know what was going on there. I didn't dig any deeper. Just ignored it and moved on. And
You realized you weren't necessarily the one that
I wasn't a good fit there.
Yeah.
I
Couldn't
was
help.
not a good fit.
Yeah, it hurt the fact that she was able to claim it as laziness. It wasn't that she was just like comfortable. Like it was that she was
She identified.
clearly uncomfortable and kind of like wanting. It was this odd visual of like someone drowning, and then but like you reaching out saying like they said help, and you're like, here you are. I got my hand right. I'm reaching into the water. I'm literally offered. She's like, how much do you want? I said, how much? 50. Okay, great. I'll give you 50. Let's just do this. I want to help you get out of here. This is not healthy. She's like, well, okay. I just feel like I don't want to have to move. So, and I'm like,
We said we would pay for the moving. That was the crazy part because
yeah, I offered to literally move her, and everything was done. We could do cash deal. The time of the market, that was a good time. We could have realistically bought that house and probably found a tenant to rent it. And so it was just that, man, like we're reaching into the water, and it's like she's
in the water and she's like, oh, the water feels so
but
good.
it really feels good. And it's like she's not necessarily drowning, but it did feel like, dang, like you're clearly wanting help, but
There's also a beer floating in the water. as
Yeah.
well.
She's literally like,
It's
all right, but
within
hang on
arm's reach.
first before you save me. Let me grab my beer.
It was so bad. I have not missed a week in the gym. I locked in.
He did, man. It was beautiful to watch.
It was just bad. That was probably one of the worst. Like, even in car sales, I don't know that anybody came to that level because we'd have people come up in car sales that the cab's packed from McDonald's.
Oh yeah. Oh, the trade-ins.
I wanted to say when you related real estate is your vehicle, like using that term. I vividly remember hearing one of my car sales buddies when I was in it say this. Somebody was like, "Man, I want to buy it, but I'm looking for a house right now." Word for word, this man said, "You can't drive a house."
You can't drive a house.
And I was in my head thinking, I was like,
"Oh, that's a great car salesman response."
I was in my head thinking, like, I mean, you can live in a car, but you can't drive a house.
It actually makes perfect sense. It's a great sales pitch.
There was a
just a little golf clap for the salesman that got that and nailed the pitch.
I'm not going to shout him out because I don't want people to know.
Good, yeah.
He's going to see this and he's going to know.
Oh, I love that.
He's the man.
It's so good. Sponsored by Crane Automotive.
A lot of changes there. Not going to talk about it, but that's cool stuff.
Yeah, it's
cool
exciting.
Stuff. Super cool. But yeah. Ramsey, what is your wildest situation you've gotten yourself into as far as like you're assisting a client and you're noticing that we're probably not going to be a good fit?
It wasn't after you showed the lady 130 plus homes. You held on. You didn't even slow down.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't give up on clients easily.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I can think of one like right off the top of my head that's. I mean, of course, there's the infamous story of the gun that got pulled on me.
Yeah, I need that one.
I don't know that I've ever heard that.
Oh, you know that one.
I've never heard of that.
I don't think I have, man.
The story, so it was a short sale, and the tenants were living in the house, and my clients were interested in purchasing, so we'd made an appointment, and I get there, and I told them, I said, hey, this is a short sale. Short sales are weird.
Short sales are weird. That's right.
Tenants are going to be there a lot of times. So I was like, just, prepare for a little bit of strangeness. And because I don't think I've ever had a short sale that was normal.
Yeah.
Like every short sale is something weird's going
absolutely.
on. So yeah, anyway, we get there and there's no sign in the yard, which, first red flag, it's a little bit strange, right? So I knock on the door. And then this woman opens it just a little bit. And she's like, hello. And I was like, hey, I have an appointment to show the property. And she was like, no, you don't. I was like, yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I made the appointment with this individual, and it's for this time. And she closed the door. I was like, okay, well, I'll see what happens.
You have a good feeling of what's happening. You know this is a tenant at this point.
Yeah, I knew that it was being rented out because the agent that I had reached out to, he was like, hey, let me call the tenant and confirm.
So you knew this is a tenant that's not wanting to get out of the house. He might be trying to make this showing difficult, as they all do. We talked about it earlier.
Yeah, but when that door closes, I'm like, oh, I got to put my phone back. I was like, definitely approved. Yeah, for sure. We were confirmed. So then she opens the door again and completely changed. Just like, hey, come on in. Like, everything was fine. I was like,
great.
Okay, what kind of horror movie I'm in? So we walk in. And first thing she says is, I just need you to know, my husband's a little angry that you're here. And we're like, okay, no big deal. I can smooth people over. I've definitely made this appointment.
Yeah, you're allowed to be here.
So split floor plan. Well, first off, she's smoking cigarettes
in the house.
Yeah. So as soon as the door opens, it's like smoke just billowing out. And so she's actively smoking a cigarette while telling us her husband's angry. And I was like, well, you want to show us around? And she was like, yeah. So she's giving us a tour, split floor plan. So she takes us to the primary bedroom first, takes us to the kitchen. She's like, oh, this is like, there's some foundation work here. The sink doesn't work. The dishwasher does this. Like, she's giving us all the things, which is great. I love that she's pointing out all the work that needs to be done. That's like the pro or the positive of the tenant, because they're kind of de-selling it. Then we go into the primary, or we walk past the laundry room, and they have cats, and they feed the cats by just taking a scoop of food and just throwing it out in the laundry room. So there's just like billowing of hair, like so much like tumbleweeds, and then just like cat food on the ground. So I'm like, trying to step over the cat food and the dog hair, the cat hair. And then we go into the bedroom, do the tour, go to the other side of the house. The first door that we turn to go into the first bedroom, there's a man, and he's got like crazy gray hair. He's in a wheelchair, and he's got one leg, or maybe no legs. I can't remember if it's one or no legs, but there's definitely
either one or none.
There's definitely under the average amount of legs on that man.
Less than two.
Less than two. And he just starts berating us. He's just like, you ever come to my house again unannounced, blah, blah. I was like, first off, I was not unannounced. I definitely made an appointment for this. Yeah. So it's like me and then the couple. So we're all like single file. So they're all like behind me. And I'm like, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So my clients kind of go in that room. They look in the closet. We turn around, go to the next. The bathroom is his bathroom, which is the one he's been using that's kind of handicap accessible. And it is just never been cleaned. It is so gross. Because obviously he can't clean it. And then we get to the next bedroom, and then that's like their daughter. And so like she comes out, she's like, hi, how are you? And we're like just immediately like overstimulated because it's such a different interaction between the two. And so she comes out and she's like being super friendly, is like, come on in, like, and so the wife is like complimenting she's like, oh, well, you've decorated this really well, whatever. Trying to smooth that. At least we found one friend in the house, right?
Nice. Cling to that.
We walk out and I'm like, I'm wearing a blazer. And I'm like, my blazer smells. This clients are like very particular. I was like, they're not going to be happy with me. And we get outside and I turn, I'm like, they're going to hate it. And I was like, so what'd you guys think? They're like, we love it. We bought the house. And so we definitely put in an offer. We got the house under contract. We had to close 2 weeks late because the tenants couldn't get out.
No.
Because they couldn't find anything. But
wait,
it worked out great.
When does the gun come into play?
Oh, so yeah, when we got back in the driveway,
I forgot this one detail.
I forgot about that part. So when we get back in the driveway, and I was like, "What do you guys think?" First thing she says was, "I can't believe that guy pulled a gun on you," and I was like, "What?" And I replay the whole thing in my head, and I picture the guy in the wheelchair, one leg, hair. I think I was distracted by either one of those. There's a gun, like it's on his hip. He's like,
oh, he was holding a gun on his hip.
And I was just
the legless man, the 0 or 1 legged man.
Yeah, I was just trying to de-escalate the situation. Yeah, I was just trying to de-escalate the situation. I was like, he's yelling at us. We got to calm him down.
He was underlegged and overarmed.
Yeah, and he was just sitting there with the gun. And I was like, oh yeah, he did have a gun, didn't he? And then
it can't go. That can't go in there. That's a problem.
That's going straight in the notes on the comedy movie.
That's the stand-up bit we have next Tuesday.
Yeah. So the house that I had a gun pull on me, we purchased.
Oh,
and I've since been back to that house, and it's beautiful.
I love hearing
painted
it.
the whole thing.
No smell.
It doesn't smell like
ripped
smoke.
Out all the carpet and put in all new flooring. Had the air ducts professionally cleaned. It smells great.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Nick, you're up.
I think I really only have one story. And so I was going into this like new niche or whatever, like attempting to do like inherited properties.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so you'll probably remember this one. It's in Sherwood. And so I sent out these letters, probate letters, offering to help sell an inherited home. So I probably I would say almost a year went by, and I got a call from a guy in South Carolina, and he said, "Hey, I got your letter. This is my uncle's house. I'm gonna be down. Can you meet me there? Just so." And so I meet the guy. We had a good conversation. He showed me the house. We walked through the inside. It was completely torn up. Like the house itself was in good shape, but like the inside was messed up. The carpet, and flooring, and walls, and it was his uncle's house, and he was a smoker, and so he passed, of course, and he left all of his stuff in the house, everything, and the guy had come down that weekend, taking everything that he needed, like personal documents and the high end. He took all the high end electronics and everything, so like he had a gun and stuff. So he took all of that. He was like, "Hey, this is the only time I'm gonna be down here." So I never saw him again. And so he's like, "If you help me sell the house, tell me what your commission is and whatever." So we got that all that paperwork done. So I'm sitting here with this house. I have to list everything's still in it. I don't know what.
Tell me.
Wait, that wasn't long ago, was it?
That was probably last year that we actually sold it.
Was Braden the videographer?
No, we didn't do it.
Oh, you're thinking of it.
I know which one you're thinking of, though. Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I gonna get this stuff
Yeah.
out of the house? And so I reached out to everybody and see what we can do, like an estate sale
Yeah.
or whatever. And people were telling me, hey, there's not enough value in the stuff in there. Yeah, so there's not enough value in the stuff that was left in there. So I'm sitting here, trying to figure it out. And so I called the guy. I said, hey, I can't get anybody to get this stuff. I could probably call somebody to move it all. And he's like, hey, if you can do that, or even if you can move it out, you can have everything in there. So,
Let's go.
okay. And so I go back to the house.
Oh, tell me there's at least one nugget in there. Just a little golden egg.
There was actually some pretty decent stuff in there. There's a lot of medical equipment because he had cancer or whatever. But there was medical equipment. There was an electric scooter, lawnmower, a lot of lawn equipment because he did a lot of yard work. There was a lot of dishes. Like so many dishes.
You're like, we have so many dishes at our house now.
Yeah, I was like, I can't.
Let's go.
But he liked to cook, so because he had a bunch of recipes and stuff around.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I was finding a lot out about this guy from
Yeah.
stuff that he left in his house.
Yeah.
And he had a dog, so the house was torn up from the dog or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I told my wife about it, and she's like, "Yeah, that's she was
Let's
on
get
board."
it. Oh, it's
And so she
fun.
she helped me clean it out. And he had a ton of tools, also like garage tools and stuff. So we kept a lot.
That's the golden nugget.
And older tools,
Tools,
like
man.
an older guy's tool, like my dad's
That's a
tools.
win.
Yeah.
Those tools will be.
They do
around-
more.
They'll be around far longer.
Those
than the
tools can
that I
build
bought.
things that our new tools can't build.
Right.
They don't break. They build tools to break now. Those tools were like, you buy one set and
It's it.
Yeah, those were some long-lasting tools.
It's like how my wife sees like Louis Vuitton bags. She's like,
Yeah.
this is an heirloom.
Yeah.
Those tools, they're heirlooms.
Yeah. So he had a bunch of old tools. He has this big metal stackable toolbox with a bunch of old tools and rusty. A lot of them were rusty, but a lot of them were good. So we kept a lot of them. And
that sounds so.
he had like drills and saws and all kind of stuff. So
Oh, a good saw.
yeah.
Oh,
really good saw. And so we kept a lot of that stuff, and we actually ended up getting a lot of it sold. And but I'm still left with an empty house that still needed work because it's like in the middle of Sherwood. I knew it was marketable. It was a nice 2-3.
Did you get it completely empty?
I got it completely empty.
Yeah. All because of you guys, or did you have anyone else come to?
Just me and my wife.
Yeah, everything.
that's incredible.
You guys had a house that had a saw in it, and Ramsey's house was like a scene out of Saw.
There you go.
I mean,
And I see sawed.
Well, it was really cool. We got him to get the carpet redone. We got him to paint, and we got the roof done on it as well. But that took a while to get, all the negotiations and stuff. We had it under contract about 2 or 3 times. So we finally got it sold for him, but it took a while.
you know who I think would have the most insane stories? I bet you already know. I mean, you guys know him, Matt McKay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet Matt's got.
he is the main character in a few of those stories,
Yeah.
but he's got quite a few good ones.
Because like if you're dealing with investment properties, every story, your story was my story, our story, but all of them are investment properties.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
I bet Taylor Gray.
Oh,
has,
dude, Taylor for
because
sure.
he's gotten a lot of investment properties under contract as well.
Yes. Also, great main character for those
Yeah.
stories.
So I bet between both of those,
Yeah. Matt and Taylor honestly are so good at doing investment deals. I'm so thankful that they're on our squad because they handle a certain caliber of client, some of which are the easiest to work with and able to work systematically and smoothly. But some of those are just a lot of work.
Yeah.
We had that one investor that came in from out of state that was it was a hard deal. He was dishonest about the condition of the property, and wouldn't agree to pay vendors that
That's the guy
had to
that
pay
sent you
for.
the video.
Yes.
Talk about that.
So
And then we can play that video.
yeah.
on
Oh,
Instagram,
dude, that's
'cause
so
that guy-
funny. Yeah. So I was like really had helped him a lot, like with getting some contractors out there and getting the house ready, and like we had been in a lot of communication, but at this point, it was like 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night. He texted me, and I didn't respond for like 30 minutes, and so he sent in a video. And he's like, "Oh, you're one of those 8 to 5 guys. You're never gonna get to make money like I'm making. Look where I live. You think I can get there with 8 to 5? Ha! You need to learn how to be like me." It's like the most like cocky, prideful, like childish presentation of like what he thought was wealth and success. But it was like all I saw was a lonely, expensive, probably overly priced apartment with a really nice view that I would have loved to have enjoyed. Yeah. But it was, man, like that attitude, like nobody wants to be with you in that apartment when you talk to somebody like that. But all I could do was laugh. And I texted him back like with an emoji, like laughing. And I was like, you know, I'm excited to get that done. Whatever. It wasn't even a serious response, but that was actually the first red flag. Yeah. But we do what we can to like, to create peace and say like, we're going to help you, you know, regardless of how excited I am about, you know, the relationship with you. I'm going to do everything I can to make you win. If you've hired me to sell your house, I'm going to help you win. And you don't have to be my best friend for us to accomplish that. But, that was the first sign towards what became really, some really, inappropriate behavior that we had to, it was a difficult deal to close that we had to close and, make clear that we're not going to be able to work together in the future.
Yeah. It's because we're just those 8 to 5 guys. Man.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, that's like, I follow people on Instagram that they're like the fake entrepreneurs that are like, they're actively doing comedic videos, faking as if they're some, jerk entrepreneur. And that guy was being serious.
He was being serious.
And I've seen people that are like facetiously acting like that.
Yeah. Like it's so clearly laughable that there's a space for a lot of content creators to like make that parody.
It was funny.
And it's crazy when you actually experience it.
Yeah.
That there are people actually that think that way. They've become a little misguided on what they think success is, and I mean it's great for them, but
I think social media.
It shouldn't come to disrespecting other people.
Yeah,
is really the problem.
For sure, social media has painted it to where it's like if you have a penthouse view, you can tell your realtor in Arkansas that they're not cool.
Right.
It's just like,
or that they're bad at their job,
which is crazy because he didn't know. I'm sure he didn't know who his realtor was. You know what I mean? Like he's saying it to the wrong people.
Well, I hope that I know he got to know who we are because he got a great, better than he expected result.
Yeah.
Despite his blatant disrespect to our team and to the contractors that did a wonderful job taking care of the house.
The thing about real estate is, for me, there's just a few of these bad stories, and I remember them so well. But then
so many good ones.
But the good ones, there's so many good ones that it's kind of, you don't remember.
They're harder to tell.
You don't remember when you walked in.
The good ones are like 90%. Yeah.
Yes. Or when you find a big old plate of cookies and you eat all of them.
Right.
And it's such a gift. It's such a gift. Yeah. I'm curious, has anyone else ever taken a sparkly water from a fridge during a show?
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Lance Cook. Last week, I was showing one of his listings, and I popped open the refrigerator.
That's such a gift.
And there was like 4 of those in there. It didn't say take one, but I was like, I know.
It'll be cool. It'll be
He's
cool.
not gonna.
Yeah, if it's a vacant house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's
You left this here for us. That was so
vacant
thoughtful of
houses,
you.
especially like leftovers from open houses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sure.
That's a
bottle of
gift.
water.
Yeah.
But not someone's occupied house. Like,
Right.
Oh, you got pickles in here? Guess I'm gonna take a pickle.
When I first started, and I wasn't it was a tough first year in real estate. I never did. But there are some times where I'm walking through the kitchen and I see the fruit roll up and I'm like,
just- I have to confess,
Power
I've not
through.
been above it. I have
Fruit by the foot.
the fruit by the foot, actually.
Yeah.
The fruit roll up.
RX bars.
Oh, those are expensive.
They were. Harjo Hunjin had some at his house. 5 Etrier Court, one of the most beautiful homes we've sold, Chenal Downs. And he had a box of expired RX bars. And so I had to ask him, because I was doing open house, and I was like, Harjo, may I please have an RX bar? He says, absolutely. And so every time I showed the house, I got an RX bar. And it was so good.
How many RX bars did it take for you to sell that house?
It only took 5 RX bars.
Nice.
So I think he got a pretty good return on the investment of that RX bar box.
100%.
Especially if you got them from Costco.
Yeah,
You know.
RX
totally.
bar, that's the one with the really cool marketing strategy, right?
It's
Where
like
you're-
three.
where-
It's like three.
So
to
it's like
5
3
ingredients.
eggs. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so
I
good.
think it says on that no
Dates.
BS.
That's how I want our listing presentations to look. It's just like one little picture of the RX ingredients graphics, just change the words to, great personalized.
Yeah.
We got to come up with the RX bar
No BS.
marketing, no BS presentation for our listing. That's a good challenge.
Yeah.
On that, I've got to go. I've
Yeah.
got a meeting I got to race to. But
I've got to go as well.
Okay.
I've got many important things to do also.
okay, let's rock and roll. Let's have a great day.
It says something about a show.